Hello fellow Toastmasters. In this video we're going to look at breakout rooms. Now breakout rooms are very useful in competitions, but they also can be very useful in normal meetings. A breakout room is effectively another room that you can generate within Zoom, into which you can put one or more people. And once in that room, they can only communicate to the people in that room. In a competition, that means we can take all the judges and put them into a judges' room to talk together. We can put all the speakers into a room and give them a briefing. And I'm sure that you are going to find lots of very interesting ways that you can use breakout rooms even in your standard Toastmasters meetings. Now if you have a look at the meeting that I've set up here, it's Johnny No Mates really, because it's me as the host, then me, otherwise known as Dell from the Dell laptop, and me on the iPad. But what I can do is I can create a breakout room. If I make the screen a bit bigger, I will get the breakout room icon at the bottom. That'll make it easier. I can click on the breakout room and I basically have two sets of questions. The first question is, how many rooms do I want to create? Well, I only have two participants and myself, so one room's really the only sensible alternative. But the other thing I can do is I can either create breakout rooms automatically or manually. What that means is automatically you create a number of breakout rooms and then Zoom will assign randomly all the people that you have into those rooms. So if you have 10 people and you create two breakout rooms, you'll end up with 4 people in one room and 5 people in the other room, because you don't get moved. You as the host stay where you are to start with. So in this case, it doesn't really matter if we do it automatically or manually, but I'll do it manually so you can see how that process works. So I'm going to create one room manually, and I click on create rooms and nothing happens. Nothing happens. All I've done is create the environment, but nothing happens at that point. I now have the ability to rename the room. So I can call it the boardroom, if I can spell. I call it whatever I like. So I could call it the contestants room, I could call it the speakers room, I call it the evaluators room. One idea I had straight off the top for a meeting is, why not get all the speakers and evaluators, create 3 or 4 rooms, and then put each of the speakers in a room and put their evaluator in the room with them, and then they've got a chance to have a chinwag and work out the objectives for their speeches. There we are, there's one idea for you. Anyhow, back to the presentation of how we do it. We have one room, I've called it the boardroom, I've renamed it. I now want to assign people to go in there. This is going to be a bit boring because I've only got 2 people, so I'm just going to tick both of them. And they are now assigned to that room, but still nothing happens. I could even add another room. But I haven't got anyone to assign, you say. Ah, yes, but I can now change my mind, because now I could go to one of the other people and use the move to move them to the other room. So now I have my 2 members, each in a room of their own. But still nothing happens. To make things happen, you need to click on this button, open all rooms, and then it happens. But you need to make sure that all the rooms you need to be allocated for this particular time, because you can make breakout rooms, stop them, make new breakout rooms, stop them, whatever. But for this particular time, we have to make sure that all the rooms that we need for this particular time are already created before we do open all rooms. You can't add to breakout rooms and whatever. That's not allowed. So now we're ready. We can click on open all rooms. Now what happens, and I will flip over to the other screen to show you, they get a sort of invite really, saying the host is inviting you to join the breakout room and the name of the room, which is breakout room 2 in the example of Dell here. Now Dell has the ability to say to join or to ignore it, so to speak, and hit later. So if they hit later, they've not joined. and you can see from the status on my breakout room what's going on. So if I go to the iPad and say the iPad joins, the iPad will now join the breakout room, and the settings on the system should change. Let me just see, make sure my settings are off for the audio so I don't get echoes. Now if I click on the breakout room here on this thing, I can see that I've been assigned a breakout room, so I will now join it like a good boy. And this is how the screen looks, and you're then put into the breakout room. So in this breakout room I can click on the participants, and this breakout room is just Dell. I'm afraid my iPad is working on the wireless signal and hasn't yet managed to join the breakout room. It has now. It has now, and I can confirm that because you can see that they're now on the breakout room here on the laptop. And if we go back to the desktop and click on the breakout rooms icon, we can see there are 2 people in there. And as I said, you can pick them up and move them around. And therefore they can now have a conversation between the 2 of them in the breakout room, and the people in the main room will not be party to that conversation, which is what you want. You want a private room. I said though that I could join those rooms, and so you can see above the rooms there is the option to join. So I could now join Dell and iPad in their room. I can just click join, and it says, do you want to join them? And I say yes, and I have a little icon which has gone off the screen saying you're joining, and it says now you are now in a breakout room. So now there are the 3 of us together. All 3 of us can have a conversation together. We could even share a screen or a whiteboard, just like the main room. So that's very powerful. I think you'll agree. It's very powerful indeed. And when we have finished our conversations, there are 2 options for what can happen next. Either the host can close the room and everybody gets sent back to the main meeting room, or individuals can choose to leave the room with the command to leave on their own machines. And so if we have a look at the laptop, you can see there's an option here, leave breakout room. So I can click on that and leave the breakout room. It says though, when you're leaving, do you want to return to the main session, or do you want to leave the meeting completely? And of course in this case I want to go back to the main session, so I just click that button. And I have now left that meeting. The other option, as I said, is to close the rooms, and the host then closes and shoves everybody out. So you can see from the breakout room in progress here on the host screen that I'm in the room. I've got the chance to leave it. Dell has not joined because Dell has left the room actually, and I'm in there, and so is the iPad. If I click on close all rooms, then all the rooms will close. Remember, we can't create more breakout rooms once they're in progress. We can only close all the rooms and then start something else. So I will close all the rooms. And I have the timer set at the moment to a minute. So there's a warning on the iPad and all other people to say breakout room's closing, and they've got 47 seconds now because it's counting down for them to join the main screen. So they can choose to join the main screen, and if they don't, at the end of that countdown they'll be put back into the main room anyhow. So I'm going to join them. Of course I'm in that breakout room as well at the moment, so I will join the main session as well. So I get a box telling me returning to main session, and there I am now back in the main session, and it's myself and Dell, and the iPad is still having problems connecting, so it's now lagging and it hasn't actually seen that it's been asked to leave the room. So that's an example of what happens when you have a bad connection. But no, you see, I spoke too soon. there it is. It's now, with its camera on, bumped itself back into the main room. So it did happen eventually. Now all the breakout rooms are closed, I have the ability at any other time during the meeting to recreate those rooms or to create a different combination of rooms. And I said we had a minute to get back into the rooms. If you click on the options button, you can change the countdown timer. So you can see that breakout rooms, you can move all participants to breakout rooms automatically, so they don't tend to get the help. You can allow the people to leave the breakout rooms at any time. You can set the breakout rooms the timeout, so after so many minutes they close. And you've also got this countdown after closing the breakout room, which I said we had 60 seconds. For all practical purposes, you're probably going to want to change that time maybe to 10 or 15 seconds, so that when you close the rooms, people come out of the rooms quite quickly. And those settings in the options, I believe, can be changed at any time. Certainly I've tried to. If you need the same rooms as you had before, then you've got recreate to, so you've got open all rooms to, it's backwards I'm afraid. Open all rooms will open back the rooms you had before, or recreate allows you to make a new combination of rooms. So, to summarise, the host can create breakout rooms. There can be any number of breakout rooms and people can be allocated automatically or manually. The rooms are not opened until you've sorted out the rooms. You may have renamed the room names as well, although you can do that later, but that's probably confusing to do it later, so you'd want to do it straight away. Allocate the people to the rooms you want, and only when you're happy with all that and you click on open all rooms, do the rooms actually open. People can leave the rooms of their own volition if you have let that happen in the options, which is, I believe, the default. When you are finished with all the rooms, you can close all the rooms, which within a countdown timer will force everybody back into the main room. Once all the rooms have been emptied and closed, you can recreate those rooms in the future and put everybody back into the rooms under some other set of rules, or you can redefine a new number of rooms and reuse the rooms feature from the start. If you want discussions in small groups, if you need to have certain members of the room to have a conversation in private, breakout rooms are a fantastic resource and a great way of doing all those things. And that's why I think you will come up with more imaginative ways of using breakout rooms in your meetings. Toastmasters, thanks for watching.